Out of excitement for the Chainsaw Man movie, I decided I was going to turn myself into Denji. So in this cosplay tutorial, here is how you go and do makeup to turn yourself into Denji, along with also a little bit of face taping and other things of that sort that all go into completing a cosplay look. Now, I'm really excited for this movie. I will actually be going as Power, which I do have a tutorial on my profile as well too for how to turn yourself into Power. So starting off for this cosplay makeup look, because I will be using some face tape, I am securing my hair in place and I am putting this netted hair cover over. Normally, these are the ones that I typically will use when I go and do any sort of face tape or anything like that. So after my hair is up, then I put in some contacts. I have these off yellow ones, and because I'm using tape, I need to protect my hair. I'm putting some crumpled up pieces of toilet paper under there, and I will be using some Pros-Aid as adhesive. You can see that I have two spots where I put down some of the adhesive, and I'm using this medical tape, pulling it up. So I'm going to be pulling my cheekbones up, along with also pulling my chin back, which you can see there. Then I'm taking this piece of tape and putting it over those pieces to keep them in place. The Pros-Aid is also going to keep this tape very secure and it's not going to move much. And you can see this is what my face looks like now. My cheekbones are way more prominent along with also my jaw. It comes to a bit more of a point now and it gives me a lot more of a masculine look. For gluing down my eyebrows, I'm using the typical, which is this Elmer's glue. It's the stuff that goes on purple and then dries clear. So I'm passing through my eyebrows, getting them slightly up. And then I am using this off red to go and cover them because my eyebrows are very, very dark. And this is something that I do say in a lot of my videos. Color theory, what you do is you use certain colors, like in this case, to make my eyebrows look a little bit less noticeable. I use the red. Now I did put some white over them too to go and blot them out more. Then covering them, I am using a flesh tone and you can see they start to disappear, which is exactly what I want. Now, after I have that flesh tone down, then I'm going to be moving on to my foundation. So I'm putting that down, making sure to cover up the tape as well too, which will help to blend it into my skin a little bit further. Of course, you will see the tape at the end as well. It's just kind of one of those things. Normally, if you don't have a wig that's going to fully cover it, it will typically show up a bit. But after that foundation was done, then I'm moving on to this slightly darker flesh tone color mixed with just a little bit of brown. And I'm putting that underneath my eyes. Now, Denji looks like he is absolutely and completely and totally tired all of the time. So adding that under to my eyes, along with also above my eye, is just going to give me a bit more of his characteristic looks. So I'm putting a larger amount at the corners of my eye and then filling in the space where the fold of my upper eyelid is. Now, moving on to some eyeliner, I extended that line slightly off of where the top of my lid is. You can see that there's just a bit of space that is there, filled in the corner, and I kept this line pretty thin. I typically do tend to do this for a lot of the different cosplay looks that I do. Then I extended that line down at a bit of a triangle, left some space, and I didn't fully connect it to the corner of my eye. Then I drew on a couple of these small lines, along with also some lines that were at the corner of my eye too. Now I did have a reference up, which is something that you always want to have when you're doing any sort of makeup like this. It'll help you kind of figure out where some of these lines are going to go, along with also what the general eye shape or different characteristics of the character you want to cosplay are. He has those little points that are for the bottom eyelashes, so I made sure to add some of those, and then I added some more lines, of course. Added an extended line at the corner. Then I took some red, and I do this for a lot of the different makeup that I do. I typically put some red either in the inner portion of the eye or I put it underneath where that line is. And I don't mean sticking it into your eyeball, of course. I mean underneath the line that you created to create the false eye. I'm using one of my favorite tools, the Brow Buddy, mapping out where I'm going to put the general line of my eyebrows. Then I sketch them on. So he has some pretty elongated eyebrows, and they also come slightly down, so I'm going a bit below where my eyebrow is for that point, drawing a couple more lines that are there to accentuate it and again add to a bit more of the tired look. Then I'm adding some more shadow with a darker brown, so I'm going to be cutting into that area underneath the eyebrow, also putting some more shadow on the nose, making it look just a bit more narrow, and also to accentuating my cheekbones, which were already pulled up a decent amount from the tape that I put down. So I'm using some brown for that, blending it out with some of the foundation that I have, and that's going to make my cheekbones look more prominent. Then for the lips, I am using some matte lipstick. I'm following along where the actual lines of my mouth are. Normally what I'll do is I'll make my lips look a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner. In this case, I really didn't feel like I had to, and I extended the sides up slightly. I put some white where my philtrum is. I also followed along at the top of my lip here, gave it just a bit more of this highlight, and you can see I'm using my finger to blend that out. Then at the sides, I'm taking this eye pencil, I'm extending a line slightly up, blending it with my finger. That's just going to add a bit more shadow to where that line is and kind of make it look like I have a bit of a devilish grin. I'm adding some shadow under my bottom lip, blending that out. And then to fill in the eyebrows, I am using some water-activated makeup. I'm going to be using a combination of this brown along with also just a little bit of yellow. And I'm filling in where I already had my eyebrows sketched out. I'm doing this pretty lightly. This is just to make the contacts pop along with also make it look like I actually do have some eyebrows filled in. Using, of course, some mascara to make my eyelashes on the top look bigger and longer. Putting these fake teeth in. Struggling with a tie that I had to pre-tie because I have no clue how to tie a tie around my neck. Then I ended up putting on the wig, which I had styled previously and I cut for this makeup look. And then here was the final makeup look after everything was finished. I, of course, had to add just a little bit of fake blood at the side because, you know, why not? So thank you all so much for watching. If you are excited to see the Chainsaw Man movie, let me know. If you're going to be going and seeing it with some friends, then maybe this might be a cosplay that you might want to go and do. Thank you all so much for watching again. I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.